We are here to speak about how we create a more balanced workforce at MAS, and a lot of our SBUs have certain initiatives that are focused on this.
Interesting to hear a lot about you, and you being a pioneer in planning. You have changed yourself to now lead a manufacturing environment.
As you may have heard, Linea Aqua, where I headed the planning for a few years, was one of the few planning teams in the group, if not the industry, that was very much skewed towards more females and female leadership. It was around 50-50 when I joined, but it did keep growing that way, and part of it was because a lot of the strong personalities we had in the team were actually female. I won't say there's any real secret sauce to it. It was pretty much about, as you said, treating people equally and with fairness. If you can create an environment where females can perform a very high pressure job, but in a very pleasant, comfortable work environment, maybe word does get around and more people do apply.
With a lot of females in your team, and it's a very female dominant environment, in terms of their life cycle challenges, for example, going on maternity leave, how do you manage yourself to navigate that situation?
That's an excellent point. There was a time, I remember, I think we had 5 people on maternity at one time, because a lot of them were, they joined the team pretty young, and at one point they were all young mothers or going to be young mothers, and we had 5 people on maternity, and it felt scary at first, but then it didn't really hit us in the face. We had time to prepare for it, and we made plans.
And like you correctly said, if you know the process upfront, you know what to expect upfront. Definitely, as a world-class organization, we should be able to design our processes to support that expectation, right? So with that question in mind, I just want to tap into your views about how did the total different departmental change from planning to manufacturing. And as we all know, in MAS, manufacturing is more skewed towards male-dominant environment at current state, from a female-dominant planning to male-dominant manufacturing.
So it was interesting, to say the least. Still very much we are a little male-skewed, especially in our manufacturing, and there's a little bit we can do there. But what really helps us is our TLGL structure. We've been able to empower a lot more women, as I said, create that culture, the opportunity and the process, with a proper cadence, with a proper path. And also I think what's important is, the perception. MAS has done a lot to completely change how garment factories were, 20, 30 years ago to what they are now. So just to flip the coin over, if I was a young man looking to join MAS and seeing this kind of a target, this kind of initiative, would I feel at a disadvantage?
The thinking behind is creating an environment so that everybody can compete equally, right? It doesn't mean that we will skew only towards a certain gender by design. But what we want is, by default, everybody can compete. And one of the other things that I can recall also, Asanga, is a leadership sponsorship. Bringing that sponsorship, creating that clarity for people to open up, have a open dialogue with leadership at any given point, creating helplines, supporting individuals who seek knowledge and expertise to maneuver this cultural transformation, and sponsoring it from the front is also key, I feel, to go through this cultural transformation of having equal environment.
I think you mentioned about the boardroom at the start when you were speaking about a 50-50 boardroom. I was just thinking, sometimes we've been in so many boardrooms or meeting rooms where there's probably no females or maybe one female, and we feel a little uncomfortable. Imagine what it's like for the female, right? Like you said, it needs to come from within, come from the heart. We, more so as men, probably need to feel that discomfort when it's just 1-2 females in that, or women in that boardroom, right?
Absolutely. So Asanga, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, I think we have come a certain way in creating a more balanced workforce and in breaking certain paradigms, breaking certain mindsets as to what type of roles a female can perform. But there's obviously a way to go. When it is purely out of our mind that we're not looking for a male or a female for a position. Almost to a point where we come, we don't, even need to ask gender in an application, except for its administrative purposes. I think then maybe we can say that we've gotten somewhere.